Steve Fletcher here, and welcome to another tuition video. Before we get started, can I ask you please to like this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, and really help me grow my online business. If you've got a moment as well, you can check out my social media. There's Instagram, there's Facebook, as well as my website. The links are all down there in the description. Okay, so today we're taking a look at Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes, and we're really going to dive into the how to properly play it. Now, it's kind of become the 21st century's answer to Smoke on the Water, really, Seven Nation Army. You know, I get so many of my pupils now. It's kind of a 50-50 split, really, between pupils who play Smoke on the Water and pupils who go. And obviously, it's absolutely brilliant to hear kids when they get to that level where they're playing that, and not to rain on that parade at all. Same with Smoke on the Water, is people tend to play it a little bit inaccurately. Now, that's not to say you're playing it wrong. It sounds great. It's exactly what you should be doing if you're playing that. And in fact, that is how I teach it. And if you're so inclined, I have done a learner version of Seven Nation Army, which is part of my tuition guide, the Everything Guide to Learning to Play Guitar. There's a bit of a plug. The playlist for which is right there. And if you want to see the song of Seven Nation Army, the learner version, then that's right there as well. So what do we need in order to play it properly? So yeah, the big difference with playing it properly is a couple of different things. The big one is your guitar is in a completely different tuning. So normal standard guitar tuning, like so. Seven Nation Army is in what we call the open A tuning. And what that means is, we're going to get to that tuning in a little while, is when you play an A chord, it sounds like that. What we're going to do is we're going to tune the guitar in such a way that when you do that, the open strings, it sounds like that, or something along those lines. So the other thing that you're also going to need is a guitar slide, and we'll get to using that in a moment. Things falling down all over the place. And we're also going to use an octave pedal. A lot of people sort of erroneously think that there is a bass on the recording of Seven Nation Army. There is never a bass on it. There's not a bass player in the White Stripes. Surely you know that, but you might not. And it was actually done all on guitar, with Jack White playing what we call an octave, playing using what we call an octave pedal, which is a pedal that takes the sound of your instrument and adjusts it either higher or lower by a whole octave. So it will make that E that I'm playing right there sound like this E there. And I'm going to show you how to install one of those. So down here in the dusty area, I've got my Line 6 Helix, which is my whole world of sound. And what I'm going to do is just show you briefly me creating a patch for Seven Nation Army. All right, so what I've got here is my very basic setup for my Helix. What I've got on the bottom here is just a really, really straightforward mic setup. So what you're hearing me talk through right now is the mic going into the Helix and just coming straight out through the USB, which is going into the computer. There's nothing amazing going on there. What I'm going to do on this top is just set up a really, really simple, let me get rid of that loop pedal actually while I'm at it, is I'm going to set up a really, really simple Jack White-esque preset sound. Now, Jack White doesn't use a lot of stuff, so we're just going to go for a very simple tweed, nice tweed amp there. That's quite nice. I quite like that. And I'm just going to leave that as it is, because that's just going to be my stock go-to clean sound. Just a little bit of a crunch to it, which is quite nice. So we're going to add to this, we're going to add just basically, I'm going to stick a little bit of reverb on there just to make it a little bit nicer. So let's just try dynamic room. That's nice. I'm just going to mix that a little bit differently. Maybe a little bit less than that. That's nice. Just gives it a little bit of depth to it. So the two things we're going to add on top of this is a fuzz pedal. Jack White's distortion is quite a gritty, evil sounding distortion. So we're going to add that. And we're also going to add this pitch shift to give us the octave. So let's look first of all at the distortion pedals. Now, what we've got down there, we're going to add the one that I really like, which I've used previously, is the triangle fuzz, which straight out of the box gives you this really nice, very dirty sounding sound of fuzz. And I'm going to experiment putting it, this is in front of the amp, and I'm also going to experiment putting it behind the amp. See if that makes any difference. Yeah, that makes a world of difference. In fact, it makes it a world of rubbish. So we're going to stick that back in front of the amp. You can really hear the difference there with that sound. There we go. Now we're going to turn that off for the moment. So we've just got our normal amp coming through. And then we're going to add the pitch shifter pedal. Very simple pitch because I don't want to mess about with it too much. And then what we're going to do is take the interval down to -12. So that is a full octave down. And what you can hear there is two things. You can hear the original guitar and the octave. Now I'm going to get rid of the original guitar and just hear the octave by lifting that up to 100%, that mix. Like so. So you can just hear the octave. And it's got that idea of a bass, but it just doesn't quite sound like the bass. And what we're going to do basically as the track progresses is we're just going to switch between turning the octave off and putting the distortion on. Like so. So what we're going to do now is to adjust the tuning of our guitar. It's in standard at the moment. And what I want to do is put it into open A. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to change the tuning. We're just going to adjust the tuning on the three strings that you would have your fingers on to make that A chord. We're going to leave the E alone. We're going to leave the A alone. I'm going to go up with the D string and I'm going to tune it up to an E. I'm going to tune the G string up to an A. I'm going to tune the B string up to a C sharp. And I'm going to leave the E string alone. So, D string going to go up to E. G string going to go up to A. B string going to go up to C sharp. And there, we now have an open A. And what that does is it puts the A as a full line across your strings. And then what of course it then does is with your slide, is it makes the chords that you're going to use all the way through the song, all in a nice neat line, which is great for your slide action, because obviously when you use a slide you need everything in a nice neat line. The only thing you need to be aware of as well is when Jack White does the G, the turnaround at the end of the choruses and the verse and stuff, it's a G chord and an A chord. There's actually a G, the G is here. And the A is obviously the open strings. He doesn't go to the G there. He just does a power chord because of course those two strings we didn't change at all. So it's just the G there, and then the open A, like so. All right, so let's try and play it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. The only thing we're going to do now is just take a sort of closer look at the solo, which is a little bit more interesting. Obviously, it takes a lot more. There's a lot more happening with the slide down there, so that's just what we're going to take a look at. I'm going to knock the distortion off for this, just for the sake of everyone's ears, and hopefully you'll have a bit of a interesting experience. Hopefully you'll be able to see some of those subtle nuances that are in the solo there. very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Please, please, please check out my website. Check out my YouTube page. There is absolutely loads and loads of videos on there for you to use and learn some great songs from, growing by the day. And hopefully we'll see you next time, boys and girls. Take care. Bye-bye.